Hi everyone. It's just after noon here on the East Coast. It's Wednesday, March 5th. This is Lee McMahon, and I wanted to do a video today, this afternoon specifically, because it's been a fairly slow day in Forex markets in terms of absolute movement anyway. A little bit of volatility, of course, surrounding the significant data that we've seen released today. Let's talk about it. So take a look at the risk disclaimer that is now on your screen. Pause the recording to make sure you get a chance to finish it, and then we'll go to the charts. Okay, so CAD Swiss is up first. We'll talk about that in a second. First, going to talk about some of the data that we've seen today. A lot of PMI numbers, obviously, first full week of the month, so it's that time of the month. Spanish services PMI down to 53.7 from 55.3. Expected 54.9 prior. Italian services PMI managed to jump back above 50, 52.9 against 50.6 expected, 49.4 prior, so that one's better than expected. Pound services PMI 58.2 against 58 expected, 58.3 prior, so slightly better than expected, slightly worse than before. European-wide retail sales better than expected by 0.7%. U.S. ADP non-farm payrolls worse than expected, downgraded last month's as well. 139,000 new jobs against 159,000 expected. Then we saw U.S. non-manufacturing PMI ISM came out 51.6 against 53.8 expected, 54 prior. I did chart out. All right, this is the last. From January 2012, all right, these are all the PMI non-manufacturing, sorry, so basically services PMI numbers. You can see we've kind of had a little bit of a disturbing trend since about September of 2013. We are down a little bit from there. We made the number that we saw today was the lowest in quite some time, and we also had a very, very poor employment component. So back-to-back today, suggesting softer NFPs on Friday. We also had the Bank of Canada today. They didn't really change anything. And we have the Beige Book coming up today at 2, so in about 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, before Aussie retail sales tonight. So busy day, but despite that, not a really ton of movement. All right, CAD Swiss is up 0.5% today. The Swiss pairs in general. Dollar Swiss is basically flat. Aussie Swiss is up slightly, 0.4%. Kiwi Swiss is also higher by about, I think, probably 0.6%. So you can see the Swiss pairs, generally speaking, higher today. Only 0.2% on Kiwi Swiss. So the Swiss pairs are higher today, generally, though nothing overly exciting. The dollar index, basically flat on the day. You can see we got up to about 80.30, so about 20 points higher, and then we've slowly faded. Click over to the euro. All right, down 0.1%. You can see it's kind of range between 137 and 137.45 or so. It has not really managed to accomplish anything particularly significant. Pound dollar is higher today, all right, about 0.4%, overcoming a little bit of a dip here early in the morning. Still just consolidating here. 166 is support, 168 is resistance. I don't have great trade anywhere in between those two levels. Not a lot of trades going on right now that I'm really interested in. Again, I would still like to buy Aussie dollar, but I would like to buy it maybe about 2 days left for symmetrical right shoulder at about 88.45. I would like to just see a new low here. I want to see some of the sentiment, some of the weak retail longs get shaken out, and then I may try to buy it. I'm also kind of casually looking at Aussie yen. Okay, again, back up near this well-trod trend line and moving average area. If we can mount an assault above there, I would thinking about getting along. It's up 0.3% today. Mostly on dollar yen strength. That's up 0.1% today. Despite the poor data, you can see it's faded a little bit from the highs of the day. Nothing really particularly spectacular going on here on dollar yen. It's kind of just consolidating nicely here again between this 50-day and 100-day EMAs. So we will see how that plays out going forward. Dollar Swedish krona, another one I'm looking at, still holding that 6.4 support, still looking for the move up towards about 6.5, 6.5, 6.54 or so at this point. For this descending trend line, possible entry, possible long on a breakout, or you could short there if that's what you're interested in doing. Euro pound, very well trod wedge here. These are all been daily charts, so you know. So euro pound descending wedge for quite some time. If we do see a new low down towards about 81.40, I would look to buy. Right, for a possible rally. I would also buy a breakout. I don't really have a great interest in selling the pair while we are in this descending wedge. Euro Kiwi peaked its head below. Again, all these Euro pairs, remember ECB tomorrow, so lots of volatility expected. Peaking its head below. Possible decent technical short there, but ahead of major event risk. It's kind of your call. Euro Aussie kind of still looks like it's head and shouldersing, but not a lot of downside momentum on that. Aussie Kiwi, slightly weaker today, despite stronger than expected Aussie GDP last night. So that's not a particularly good sign for these Aussie Kiwi bulls that are out there. Aussie CAD is up slightly on the day, or was. It's actually back down towards about flat now. Major support ranges between about 97.75 and 98.20. That's a good buying area if we do dip down towards that region. And then the major resistance is that red line sitting just above parity. The other yen crosses, really not a lot going on them. CAD yen. If you're looking for yen pairs to short, CAD yen short at about 94 is actually a fairly terrific trade. You could also short a breakout of that flag below that green line. Kiwi yen broke out to new highs today. Doesn't really look that exciting. Let's see, Swiss yen, same thing. Nothing really going on with it as either. So the trades that I'm looking at this week are pretty limited. Kind of keep an eye on that CAD Swiss, possible breakout. Or sorry, that was dollar Swiss. This is CAD Swiss. Would like to see that breakout. This is one trade I would actually probably take even with the event risk coming up later this week. Little bit off the beaten path. We've got most of the CAD data out of the way. We do likely have CAD employment on Friday. I have to make sure of that real quick. We also have Canadian IVPMI on Thursday, and yeah, CAD data and trade balance. CAD IVPMI on Thursday, employment and trade balance on Friday. So there is still some significant CAD data left this week, but I still would be willing to take a stab at this long if we do get a convincing daily close above this descending trend line, which I don't think we're going to get today, so we may have to wait until after we get through IVPMI. So at least one of those news releases may be out of the way. Other than that, I'm just kind of browsing on these two Aussie pairs, Aussie dollar and Aussie yen. Aussie dollar, basically I'm buying on a dip. All right, so if we get a strong reaction from retail sales tonight, I could buy Aussie dollar lower and I could buy Aussie yen higher. So keeping those two on my radar for the second half of the week. But other than that, kind of trying to keep things a little bit quiet here with the data going on. Equity markets holding up fine today, not doing anything great. The big movers in the U.S. are financials, XLF, financials ETF, up about 0.5%. Led by Bank of America, which is up 2.65%. So there is some stuff going on here in equities, but currency markets have been relatively quiet. I suspect they will remain that way until they start exploding with volatility tomorrow. All right, so good luck trading the rest of the week. Remember, one eye on the calendar if you're trading, and if you're not, enjoy the second half of your week.